Hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name's Alex. I am a physics student, and today I want to show you guys how to speak English with a German accent. So about myself, I was born here to American parents in Germany, and I went to school and college here as well. So naturally, I've been exposed to the German accent for a very long time. I can speak English with a perfect German accent. Ist no problem for me to do at all. Ich kann auch Deutsch mit amerikanischen Akzent sprechen. Das ist absolut kein Problem. Speaking English with a German accent is actually a topic that has been explored quite deeply on YouTube. So there's a couple of good videos, and I've linked in the description down below. And these videos really go into like the nitty-gritty details and technicalities as to why German English speakers sound the way that they do. However, this is out of the scope of my video because I only want to show you guys today the 3 simplest steps you can take as a native English speaker to sound a little bit more German. So the first and most crucial step is actually getting rid of the English R sound. So what do I mean by this, right? So in American English, when you say, for example, water, you have this typical sound, which makes American English very distinct. So overall, there are 2 points you gotta watch out for. So point number 1, the first rule can be summed up as follows. If there's an R in the middle of a word, what you want to do is kind of like roll the R as if you're pronouncing a double R. It sounds easy. What do I mean by this? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. You can hear it out. If you have the word like Mary, for example, M-A-R-Y, this becomes Mary in German. You can kind of hear that like the single R is transformed to like a double R, and this is because the Germans pronounce the R like a rolling R sound, basically. This is very important. American becomes American, and horrifying, for example, will become horrifying. Can you hear it? The horrifying show. It's a horrifying movie. The second point is that you have to pronounce R's at the end of words very lightly. Now, this is because Germans pronounce their R, they almost don't pronounce it in certain words that end with an R. And to kind of illustrate what I mean, I'm going to give you an example sentence, right? So, her car hurt Harry would become her car hurt Harry. You kind of can hear that like the word car, for example, becomes ka. So it's almost as if there's no R involved. It's just like a CA, basically. Another perfect example would be Harry Potter. It uses both the first and the second rule, right? So Harry would become Harry, and Potter would become Potter. So it almost sounds like Malfoy, right? Harry Potter. Scat Potter. So the second big rule is the English TH sound. So Germans are notorious for not being able to pronounce the English TH sound in words such as the or that. So basically what most older Germans do in the so-called, what I like to call the Hollywood accent, is pronounce the TH like an S or a Z. So similar as in this, the solo introduction to this party. Hans sings these songs. Hans sings these songs. They can't really pronounce the TH. Whenever there is a TH in an English word, you want to change this to this S or Z sound, right? This is basically always correct. However, nowadays, there's a little bit of nuance to the whole story. People in my generation, especially, like younger generation, college students, they have become a little bit more sophisticated, so you're not going to hear this SZ mispronunciation all the time. What they like to do instead of the TH, they more pronounce it like a D or an F, depending on the context. Let me explain. Right, so very common words such as the, that, or those are now pronounced with a D. Die, that, those. Those things and that stuff is very good, right? So that's what it kind of would sound like. However, other words such as thorough, for example, things, or my favorite example, Darth Vader, they would now be pronounced with an F instead of a D. Thorough would become, for example, thorough, or things for things. You wouldn't say dings, you would say things with an F. So Darth Vader would now become Darth Vader. Darth Vader, pronounced with an F. And I don't know why it's pronounced like that, but just trust me, guys, it's just like this, okay? I mean, so as you can see, there's no rule of thumb. It's kind of like more of an experience thing. So if you want to be like absolutely sure, you can always just fall back to like the classic SZ sound, because that pronunciation is correct for any situation, any single word, and that's like the foolproof solution. Okay, so rule number 3 becomes a little more tricky for English native speakers, because the third rule is replacing the English vowels with German Umlaute. So what are Umlaute? In German, there exist 3 Umlaute, namely ä, ü, and ö, and you can basically think of them as like a combination of the letters like A, E, U, E, and O, E respectively. They were kind of like in between sounds, ä, ö, ü. Unfortunately, many German words use these umlaute, and these umlaute are also like notoriously difficult for non-German speakers to learn. Even people that have been studying German for like a very long time, a couple of years at this point, they still cannot fully pronounce these umlaut. And this is because the vowels in English and German do not match up. Anyway, so there's kind of two things going on here too. The thing that sticks out to me the most, the first rule, is that Germans turn all the A's in the English language into A's. So what do I mean by this? Let's give a couple of examples. Right, so words such as channel would become channel, the English channel. I cross the English channel. Man, translate, become man, translate, translate. They're all using the A sound instead of the A sound. Note that they're not saying channel as if it were pronounced with the actual A in German. They're saying channel with the umlaut. All right, so the second rule is actually turning your sounds into U's. So remember rule number 1, all the R sounds? So there's actually a second thing going on here as well, and that is that Germans like to pronounce, next like the R's being softened, they also kind of like replace the vowel preceding that word into an U. And this is because the ending in American English, sounds very similar to the German umlaut U. U. Words such as Germany becomes Germany, right? You have the U, Germany. So this morning I was using Microsoft Word. So both these steps are kind of crucial in order to produce an authentic German accent, but they're also probably the most difficult to get right. That's simply because, by nature, it's kind of like the inverse problem, right? So many native English speakers are going to have tremendous difficulties properly pronouncing and enunciating the German umlaut to kind of like get this right. And it takes a lot of practice. All right, but don't give your hopes up because there's still one more step. Okay, so this final step can basically just be summed up as follows. Speak harder and give words harder ending. All right, so the background of this step is that the German language itself just uses a lot of harder word endings, right? So they just speak harder in general than Americans would. Words that end with a T, for example, Werkstatt or something. You really end the word hard. And if you can do this correctly, you're going to sound much more authentic. There's no real detailed explanation that I think I can offer. It's just best understood by, I think, listening to a couple of examples. So I'm going to read something here, once in a softer German accent, once in a harder German accent. You can kind of hear the difference, I hope. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Alright, so that concludes the 3 tips I wanted to give you guys. I hope it helped someone who watched this, so you can use it as, I don't know, like a fun party trick or something the next time around. Yeah, and let me know in the comments below what you think, and I hope to see you guys soon in the next video.
Houston, we've hit the end of the video. What do I do? Do I stop it? Roger, Eagle. Negative. Hit the subscribe button.